The number one gun on this list was discontinued 4 months ago. Federal agents are still carrying it, and they are not looking for a replacement. That single fact tells you more about what actually matters in a carry gun than anything the industry has published in the last 5 years. Most people think they know what a federal agent carries. They picture what they see in press releases, a standard issue pistol, something approved by a committee, something chosen by procurement, not by the person whose life depends on it. That picture is wrong. Not every agency carries what you think they carry. Not every contract tells the full story. The gap between what gets announced in a press release and what actually gets strapped to an agent's hip in a high-risk situation is wider than most people in this space are willing to admit. Right now, in 2026, there are carry decisions being made at the federal task force level, the specialized unit level. That would completely change the way you think about concealed carry selection. Requisitions that bypass the standard approved vendor list entirely. Choices made by people who will never get to blame the equipment if something goes wrong. We got into those records, and what we found is not what anyone expected. A unit commander I know does something before every single briefing. He asks every agent to set their carry gun on the table. Not a safety check, not an inspection. He looks at them. Because in 15 years of running operations, he has learned one thing that no training manual will ever print. The agents who carry what they actually believe in perform differently when everything has gone wrong and the margin for error has disappeared entirely. That is not a small difference. That is the only difference that matters when it counts. The platforms on this list were not chosen by marketing momentum. They were chosen by people who understood that the decision would follow them into the worst moments of their careers. This is what they chose, and this is why. Number 5. Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Metal Carry Comp. S&W figured out something about compensated carry that the rest of the market was ignoring, and they used it. There is a physics relationship that the compensated carry market spent years ignoring, and Smith & Wesson decided to use it. A heavier frame does not just feel different. It changes the mechanical relationship between the recoil system and the compensation ports. The additional stainless steel mass gives the comp a more stable platform to work from during the firing cycle. The result is a gun that cycles more consistently and shoots measurably flatter under fast strings than the polymer version of the exact same pistol. Not a marginal difference, a measurable one. That is what the M&P 2.0 Metal Carry Comp is built on. Stainless steel frame, PowerPort compensator integrated into the slide and barrel, flat-faced trigger, optimized grip angle, core optics ready system for direct optic mounting without adapter plates, 15 rounds plus 1 on the standard M&P magazine format, which carries one of the deepest aftermarket ecosystems in the industry. The detail that matters more than most reviewers acknowledge. A carry gun that is genuinely enjoyable to shoot is a carry gun that gets trained consistently. And a carry gun that gets trained consistently is a carry gun that performs correctly when everything is wrong and the margin for error has disappeared. The Metal Carry Comp is one of the most enjoyable guns on this list to shoot. That is not a range observation, that is an operational advantage. Weight at 25 to 27 ounces makes this a deliberate carry choice. The ported components need more frequent cleaning. Those are the real trade-offs. They are also exactly the price of the performance. Caliber, 9mm. Capacity, 15 plus 1. Barrel length, 4.25 inches. Weight, 25 to 27 ounces unloaded. Price range, $750 to $850. The verdict. The M&P 2.0 Metal Carry Comp is the strongest argument Smith & Wesson has made for their platform in years. The metal frame turns a functional compensated design into something that feels genuinely purpose-built. American-made, factory compensated, deep aftermarket support. For the carrier running a compact frame who wants integrated recoil management done correctly from the factory, this is the answer. Number 4. Glock 49 MOS. Every review of this gun focuses on the wrong thing. Here's what they all miss. Almost every review of the Glock 49 MOS misses the actual reason it exists. They focus on the slide length, on the sight radius, on the MOS optics cut. All of that is real. None of it is the point. The point is the grip. When a pistol prints under clothing, it is almost never the slide. It is the grip frame extending behind the hip. The grip creates the outline under fabric. The grip is where concealment is won or lost in a real carry setup. The slide is almost never the problem. The G49 runs a Gen 5 compact size grip frame. Same footprint as a G19. The part of the gun that determines concealment stays at compact dimensions. Then out front, it runs a longer slide with a 4.49-inch barrel, a longer sight radius, and a more planted upper assembly that gives the shooter better control at speed. The MOS system is factory machined and ready for direct optic installation. 2 problems solved in one platform: maximum grip concealability, maximum slide shootability, with the entire Glock ecosystem behind it. Capacity is 15+1 on standard G19 pattern magazines. Every holster, light, and accessory built for the G19 format works with the G49. The aftermarket depth is unlimited in the practical sense of the word. What carriers notice after the first serious range session with the G49 MOS running an optic is not the spec sheet. It is how stable the platform feels during fast, optics-driven shooting without changing anything about how the gun conceals under their actual carry setup. That is the whole point. Most reviews never say it that directly. Caliber, 9mm. Capacity, 15+1. Barrel length, 4.49 inches. Weight, 22.4 ounces unloaded. Price range, $650 to $750. The verdict: the Glock 49 MOS solves a real concealment problem that most optics-ready carry guns ignore entirely. Compact frame grip, long slide shootability, full Glock ecosystem. For the Glock carrier moving to optic-equipped carry who refuses to sacrifice either side of that equation, this platform makes the argument clearly and cleanly. Number 3. Springfield Hellcat Pro Comp. 3 years ago, this platform was a promise. In 2026, it is a proven system. That difference matters more than most people realize. When the original Hellcat launched, 11 rounds flush in a micro-compact frame was called impossible by people who had not held one. Then they held one. The skepticism went away. The Pro Comp is what 3 years of platform maturity looks like. Not a new gun, not a revised spec sheet, a proven foundation with the compensated carry concept applied correctly by a manufacturer who had enough real-world data to do it without guessing. The factory compensator is integrated into the muzzle design from the engineering stage. Not bolted on, not threaded on, built in. Which is the distinction that separates the Pro Comp from the generation of compressed guns that broke holster compatibility across the board and created the impression that compensated carry was impractical. Springfield did the engineering work instead of the shortcut. The OSP Optics Ready system cuts directly into the slide. No adapter plate between the shooter and their zero. Capacity is 15+1. The tritium fiber optic front sight works in low light before any optic goes on. The part the spec sheet cannot communicate is platform maturity. 3+ years of aftermarket development means holster support from dozens of makers who built specifically around the Pro Comp's compensator profile. Trigger options, light compatibility, extended magazines. The infrastructure is fully built out. Newer platforms are still years away from that depth. When a carrier sets up a system they intend to run for years, that infrastructure is not a secondary consideration. It is the foundation. At $550 to $650, no other compensated optics-ready micro-compact on this list comes close to this value. Caliber, 9mm. Capacity, 15+1. Barrel length, 3.7 inches plus compensator. Weight, approximately 21 ounces unloaded. Price range, $550 to $650. The verdict: the Hellcat Pro Comp wins the value argument on this list, and it is not close. Factory compensated, optics ready, 3 years of aftermarket infrastructure, a price that leaves room in the budget for training and ammunition. For the carrier who wants to be correctly set up for years without the disruption of chasing the newest platform, this is the rational decision. Number 2. SIG Sauer P365X Macro Comp Number 2 on this list redefined what a carry gun is allowed to be. One number tells the whole story. 17 rounds, flush, in a pistol that is 1.1 inches wide. Let that number sit for a second. When the P365X Macro arrived, it did not compete with an existing category. It created one, not a subcompact, not a full-size, a macro compact, a platform that delivers duty pistol round count inside the thin profile of a micro without the bulk that makes duty guns impractical for genuine daily concealed carry. The comp variant adds SIG's integrated ported compensator to that foundation. The barrel runs 3.1 inches with the compensator built directly into the slide geometry. The overall profile stays manageable while delivering genuine muzzle flip reduction that makes 17 rounds of fast follow-up fire realistic under real-world stress conditions. The macro compact grip accepts small, medium, and large backstraps and a 1913 Picatinny rail for weapon lights that smaller P365 variants could never mount. Two 17-round steel magazines come in every box. The X-Ray 3-day/night front sight gives functional low-light capability before any optic is mounted. The optics-ready slide accepts a compact footprint red dot without adapter plates. Behind all of the hardware sits something that no spec sheet can manufacture. The P365 has been in continuous production and refinement since 2018. The aftermarket is among the deepest in the concealed carry industry. Reliability data spans millions of rounds in civilian law enforcement and professional use worldwide. Newer platforms have to earn that over years. SIG already has. Caliber, 9mm. Capacity, 17+1. Barrel length, 3.1 inches with integral comp slide. Weight, approximately 20.5 ounces unloaded. Price range, $750 to $850. The verdict, 17 rounds, factory compensated, optics ready. Deepest support ecosystem on this list. The P365X Macro Comp is the most complete answer to the question every serious carrier eventually reaches. What can I carry every day that does not make me choose between being prepared and being concealed? That question has an answer. It is this gun. Number 1. Staccato C. Number 1 is not a surprise to anyone who has actually carried one. It is only a surprise to everyone who is not. Every gun on this list competes inside a category. This one is the category. The Staccato C is a 2011 platform pistol. Double stack, single action only, aluminum framed, 4-inch stainless bull barrel. A direct mount optic system that accepts full-size and compact optics without adapter plates. Swappable grip modules that let a carrier run a compact grip for deep concealment or a full-size grip for duty use on the exact same serialized frame. One thing needs to be said up front for 2026. Staccato ended production of the C and CS in November 2025. New inventory is essentially gone. The pre-owned market is where most buyers will find one now. The Staccato warranty is fully transferable. A transferred warranty Staccato is not the same purchase as a used gun with no support behind it. That distinction changes the used market calculation significantly. Now, the performance case, because availability is not the story. The trigger is the story. A factory-tuned single-action 2011 trigger breaking between 4 and 4.5 pounds. Crisp wall, short, defined reset. That trigger in a carry-sized package does not exist anywhere else in this market. Not at any price. The mechanical gap between the Staccato C trigger and the finest polymer striker trigger from any competitor is not a matter of preference or perception. It is documented in the qualification data of the carriers who switched and never went back. What that gap means under real conditions. Fine motor skills degrade under stress. Adrenaline narrows the margin between hits and misses. A single-action trigger that breaks the same way every time with less input required from the shooter is a mechanical advantage that cannot be trained around. It shows up in performance data every single time the conditions remove the cushion. The DLC-coated slide, the stainless bull barrel, the billet 707.5 aluminum frame, the machining tolerances across every component. The build quality is in a different class from everything else on this list. That is why the Staccato platform overall has been adopted by more than 1,800 law enforcement agencies, including LAPD SWAT, the Texas Rangers, and the U.S. Marshal Service Special Operations Group. The C was the off-duty and civilian variant of that standard. In AIUB carry with the compact grip and a quality holster, it conceals comparably to a G19. The price ran from $2,599 MSRP to over $3,100 depending on configuration. The pre-owned market has adjusted. This is still a premium investment by any honest measure. Every carrier who has put serious rounds through a Staccato C and then gone back to a polymer striker describes it the same way. Going back feels like a downgrade, not because the polymer striker is a bad gun, because the Staccato C is a better one. And once a carrier has felt the difference in their hands, that knowledge does not go away. Caliber 9mm, capacity 15+1 compact grip, 17+1 full-size grip, barrel length 4.0 inches, weight approximately 25 ounces unloaded, price range $2,200 to $3,100 plus pre-owned market. The verdict: the Staccato C is number one because it answers a question every other gun on this list cannot. What does a carry pistol look like when the engineering has no ceiling, the trigger has no pier, and the build quality makes no concessions? The answer costs more. It performs better, and for the carrier whose skills have reached the point where the equipment is the limiting variable, it is the only gun on this list that removes that limit entirely. Professional carry selection has one rule that overrides everything else. The gun has to work. Not on a good day, not with the right ammunition in the right conditions. Every time, under every variable that cannot be controlled. In the moment where nothing else matters except whether the gun does what it is supposed to do. Every platform on this list passed that standard. Not because someone decided it looked good on paper, because it earned it through testing, through real-world use, and through the kind of performance data that only accumulates after years in serious hands. The carry world in 2026 is not the carry world of 3 years ago. The guns that serious professionals trust reflect that, and the ones that made this list reflect it most. Now the question is yours. Which one of these would you actually trust for everyday concealed carry in 2026? Drop it in the comments and tell us why.